What if the secret to a stronger relationship was hidden in your emotions? In this video, inspired by the timeless insights of Carl Jung, you will discover powerful truths that can completely shift the way you connect with the one you love. We'll explore how emotional honesty, symbolic language, and daily behavior patterns can transform your relationship into something more meaningful and lasting. If you're ready to build deeper trust and connection, subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell, and leave a like. In the comments, write, "Real love starts with awareness," and tell us where you are watching from. Number 1. Emotional honesty and the journey to connection. Have you ever felt like you were speaking, but your partner wasn't really hearing you? That moment when you open your heart only to be met with silence or misunderstanding. It can leave you feeling invisible, even when someone is sitting right in front of you. Emotional honesty is about much more than just saying what's on your mind. It's about allowing yourself to be seen, truly seen in your raw, unfiltered form. When you start showing up this way, something powerful begins to shift, not just in your relationship, but inside you too. You don't need to be perfect to be understood. You just need to be real. Emotional honesty means showing your joy without holding back, but also sharing your fear, your confusion, and even your anger when it arises. Have you ever hidden how you truly felt to avoid conflict? Many people do. But when you suppress what's really going on inside you, you create a wall, one brick at a time, that keeps the other person from getting close to you. And the more you hide, the more isolated you feel, even in the middle of a relationship. Imagine a moment when you felt upset, but instead of saying, "I feel hurt," you said, "I'm fine." That small moment of avoidance becomes a silent agreement to disconnect. The truth is, it takes courage to be honest, especially with the people you care about most. But without that courage, the connection you long for becomes more distant. What if next time you paused and said, "I'm not okay and I need to talk"? That one sentence can be the beginning of healing. Emotional honesty starts with knowing yourself. You can't share what you haven't yet recognized. So take a breath and ask, "What am I feeling right now?" Give yourself permission to answer honestly, even if it's uncomfortable. Because it's in the discomfort that real growth begins. You might find that what you thought was anger is actually sadness, or that your silence comes from fear, not indifference. These small discoveries are the seeds of emotional transformation. When you speak with honesty, you invite trust. Your partner begins to see that it's safe to open up too. This creates a cycle of truth and acceptance. Over time, you build a relationship where both of you feel heard, valued, and safe. Have you ever had a moment when someone looked at you and said, "Thank you for being honest with me"? That feeling is unforgettable. It creates a bond that can't be faked. Now think of a recent disagreement. Did you express what you truly felt, or did you try to avoid making things worse? Avoidance may seem like a way to keep the peace, but it often creates deeper tension. When you choose honesty instead, you open a door to resolution, not more conflict. Real peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from understanding. Many people believe that sharing difficult emotions will push others away, but the opposite is often true. Vulnerability invites closeness. When you say, "I feel anxious," or "I'm afraid of losing you," you show your humanity. You give your partner a chance to love you for who you really are, not just the version you try to present. That's where the deepest kind of intimacy begins. Your honesty can also help your partner feel less alone. Maybe they've been feeling the same things but didn't know how to say it. By taking the first step, you create a safe space for both of you to be yourselves. This mutual safety becomes the foundation for a love that grows, even in difficult times. So the next time your heart feels heavy, remember, your truth matters. It's important to know that emotional honesty isn't about blaming. It's not saying, "You make me feel like this." It's saying, "This is what I'm feeling." That small shift in language removes defense and opens the way for empathy. Your partner doesn't feel attacked. They feel invited, and that invitation can lead to deeper understanding and closeness. Think about how often we hide behind routines, distractions, and shallow conversations. How often do we really sit down and say, "Tell me what's going on inside you"? When was the last time you asked that, or someone asked it of you? Real connection comes when we dare to go beneath the surface, and it always begins with honesty. You might wonder, what if I'm honest and they don't respond the way I hope? That's a valid fear. But remember, emotional honesty is a gift you give to yourself first. It brings clarity, relief, and integrity to your experience. And even if the response is imperfect, you've honored yourself by speaking your truth. That's something to be proud of. Being honest doesn't mean saying everything that comes to mind without care. It means choosing your words with love and courage. It means saying, "I feel left out," instead of "you never care." It's the difference between criticism and expression. When you focus on how you feel instead of what they did wrong, your words build bridges, not walls. Let's be honest, being real is hard work. It's not always comfortable, but comfort isn't the goal. Growth is, love is, connection is. And every time you speak your truth with kindness, you take a step toward those things. One small sentence at a time, you build a stronger relationship. One real conversation at a time, you move closer to trust. So how do you begin? Start with small moments. Instead of brushing off a bad day, say, "Today was hard." Instead of pretending you're not hurt, say, "That comment made me feel sad." Let your words reflect your heart. It may feel awkward at first, but like any skill, emotional honesty grows with practice, and it starts with you. Create moments of emotional presence. Look at your partner when you speak. Put down your phone. Take a deep breath. Say something true. Ask something real. These little choices show that you care, not just about what they do, but about who they are. It's in these moments that emotional honesty becomes a habit, not just a concept. Notice how your body feels when you hide your emotions. Tight chest, shallow breath, a lump in your throat. Now notice how it feels when you finally speak the truth. A release, a breath, a sense of peace. Your body tells the truth, even when your words don't. Listening to it can guide you back to emotional honesty. Ask yourself today, what part of me have I been hiding? What would it feel like to bring that part into the light? You don't have to share everything all at once. Start with what feels safe. Then as trust grows, so will your ability to be open. Honesty is a practice, not a performance. Some people fear that emotional honesty will lead to rejection, but more often, it leads to deeper love. When someone knows the real you and chooses to stay, that love becomes unshakable. It's not based on a version of you, it's based on truth. And truth, though sometimes messy, is always beautiful. There will be times when honesty brings up hard conversations. That's okay. Growth often starts with discomfort, but don't let that stop you. Keep showing up. Keep choosing truth. Keep believing that your feelings matter, because they do. And the more you honor them, the more they will guide you to peace. Being honest with yourself also changes how you see your partner. You become more compassionate, more curious. Instead of reacting, you start responding. Instead of blaming, you start asking. And this shift creates room for understanding, even when things are difficult. That's how relationships evolve. So ask yourself now, what's one thing I haven't said but need to? What truth have I been carrying quietly? Take a moment. Let the answer come. And when it does, consider sharing it, not with expectation, but with the desire to be seen. That one truth may be the doorway to a new level of closeness. As you move forward, know this: emotional honesty is not a one-time act. It's a way of being, a commitment to live with integrity, compassion, and love. And every time you choose truth over silence, you deepen your connection, not just with your partner, but with yourself. And when emotional honesty becomes part of your daily rhythm, something else begins to emerge. A deeper understanding of the subtle patterns that shape your relationship. Number 2, the symbolic language of love. Have you ever felt like you and your partner are speaking different languages? You say something with love, but it gets misunderstood. They do something kind, but you miss the meaning behind it. Love isn't just in the words we speak. It's in gestures, glances, pauses, and even silence. This is the symbolic language of love, and understanding it can completely transform the way you relate to each other. Imagine your partner brings you a cup of tea without saying a word. They don't declare their love, but in that small gesture there's a message. I see you, I care, I'm here. These are the symbols that often carry more weight than long conversations. When you learn to see them, love becomes richer, fuller, and more alive in everyday life. Sometimes people say, I just want them to say they love me. But maybe they've been showing it all along through acts of care, protection, or quiet support. What if love isn't only about what's said, but about what's felt? When you open your heart to this symbolic language, you begin to notice the love that was already present, just waiting to be seen. Have you ever missed an important moment because you were focused on the wrong thing? Maybe you were looking for words when love was being shown through actions. Or maybe you needed space and your partner gave it to you, quietly respecting your mood without asking questions. These are not empty silences. They are meaningful expressions of love. Think about the last time someone smiled at you without reason. That moment may have been brief, but it spoke volumes. It said, "You matter." In relationships, it's these subtle moments that build trust. A gentle touch on the shoulder, a shared glance across the room, a remembered detail. Each one tells a story without a single word. When you start seeing love symbolically, you realize that every relationship has its own language. Your partner might express love through doing, while you prefer words. Instead of seeing this as incompatibility, ask, what are they really trying to say? This shift in perception can turn misunderstanding into appreciation. Symbols are powerful because they carry emotion. A simple object like a shared photo, a letter, or a gift can bring back a flood of feelings. It's not about the thing, it's about what it represents. In love, everything can carry meaning when it's seen with presence. That's why noticing matters. Have you ever looked back and realized you missed something important? A moment of affection you didn't recognize? A sign of sadness you overlooked? A gesture of forgiveness you didn't receive fully? These reflections help us grow. When you start paying attention to the symbolic layer of your relationship, you become more attuned, more present, more loving. Try this. The next time you and your partner are together, observe the unspoken. What are their hands doing? How do they look at you when you speak? What is being said without words? This kind of attention turns routine into ritual and habits into moments of intimacy. Symbols also show up in the way we fight. Silence can mean withdrawal or protection. Raised voices might hide fear. When you learn to decode the emotion behind the expression, you stop reacting and start understanding. You realize it's not just what was said, it's what was meant. That's where empathy begins. Even your own actions have symbolic meaning. Do you check your phone when your partner speaks? That might say, "This doesn't matter." Do you sit closer when they're quiet? That might say, "I'm with you." Ask yourself, what am I communicating through the way I show up? Awareness is the key to change. Rituals are also part of this symbolic language. A kiss before leaving, holding hands during a walk, saying goodnight. These small acts are love in motion. When you treat them as sacred, they become anchors in your relationship. They remind both of you that love is not just felt, but lived. In stressful times, symbols can be especially important. A warm meal after a long day, a favorite song played without comment, a soft glance after an argument. These are peace offerings. When words fail, symbols speak. They say, "I care. I'm still here. We'll get through this." This doesn't mean you should ignore verbal communication. Words matter too, but symbols support words. They deepen them. They give them texture. "I love you" means more when it's said while holding someone's hand, looking into their eyes, or after a kind act. That's when the message truly lands. Ask yourself, what symbols are alive in my relationship today? What gestures have I been overlooking? What meanings have I been missing? When you ask these questions with curiosity, you begin to discover a deeper layer of emotional connection, one that doesn't rely on explanations but on presence. Sometimes couples drift apart not because love is gone, but because they stopped noticing. They stopped listening to the quiet language of gestures. But it's never too late to tune back in. It starts with attention, intention, and a willingness to see what's already there. You might be wondering, how do I become fluent in this symbolic language? The answer is simple. Slow down. Observe more. Respond to what's underneath the surface. And most of all, be present. You don't need to understand everything right away. You just need to care enough to pay attention. Try offering your own symbols too. Leave a note. Bring their favorite snack. Offer a moment of silence instead of a solution. These small acts can say everything without saying a word. When you use this language intentionally, your love becomes more dynamic and deeply felt. Learning this language also helps in moments of disconnection. When things feel off, instead of asking what's wrong, Try asking, "What are you feeling?" or "What do you need?" This shift opens space for deeper sharing. It tells your partner, "I want to understand you, not just fix you." As you grow in your awareness of the symbolic side of love, your emotional world begins to shift. You see more, feel more, and respond with more kindness. Love becomes something you co-create moment by moment, with every small gesture, every choice to notice, every pause to connect. And when you start living in this deeper rhythm of emotional presence, something beautiful begins to awaken, a sensitivity to the emotional patterns that shape how love is shared and received. Number 3, emotions and archetypes in daily life. Have you ever reacted in a way that surprised even you? Maybe you got defensive during a calm conversation or felt deep sadness from a simple comment. Emotions often speak louder than reason, and they can catch us off guard. But what if those intense reactions weren't just about the moment? What if they were echoes of something deeper, patterns you didn't even know were there? Every day your emotions are shaped not only by your thoughts, but by the emotional roles you've unconsciously adopted. These roles often appear in the form of inner patterns, silent expectations, old stories, and inherited behaviors. Carl Jung called these emotional blueprints archetypes, but here we're not going to use academic terms. Instead, we'll look at how these emotional forces play out in your daily life and relationships, often without you realizing. Think of a time when you felt overly responsible in a situation. You took care of everyone else but forgot yourself. That's an emotional pattern many people carry. Or maybe you often feel like you're not enough, no matter how hard you try. These feelings don't come out of nowhere. They're shaped by emotional habits that live in you and influence your relationships every day. Have you ever noticed how quickly you assume a role in your relationship, like the fixer, the pleaser, the protector, or even the silent one? These roles may have helped you survive in the past, but now they might be holding you back. Emotional awareness begins when you start to ask, "Why do I react this way? Where does this come from?" Your emotions aren't wrong. They're messengers. When you feel fear, anger, or jealousy, it's not a sign that something is broken. It's a sign that something inside you needs attention. But most people either ignore these feelings or get lost in them. Learning to pause and ask what's underneath can change everything. Let's say you're in a conflict with your partner. They say something critical, and suddenly you shut down. You feel small, rejected, or angry. Instead of blaming them or yourself, take a breath and ask, "What part of me just got activated?" Maybe it's the part that felt judged as a child. Maybe it's the part that was always told to stay quiet. When you name it, you can begin to change it. These emotional patterns show up everywhere, in your tone of voice, in how you handle disappointment, in how quickly you feel abandoned, or how strongly you hold on. Once you become aware of them, you can respond instead of react. You can choose to act from love, not fear. Sometimes you might feel pulled into a role without realizing it. You try to rescue your partner from their pain, thinking it's your job. Or you expect them to read your mind and feel hurt when they don't. These moments are not about fault, they're about awareness. Ask yourself, is this reaction about now or is it from something older? You might be surprised how often you're living old stories. Stories that say you're only loved when you give, or that being vulnerable means being weak. These beliefs are not facts, they're inherited emotions. And until you see them clearly, they'll keep repeating in your relationships, creating distance where you long for closeness. It takes courage to recognize your patterns, but with awareness comes choice. You can choose to speak up instead of staying silent. You can choose to say, "I feel scared," instead of getting angry. These small shifts break emotional cycles and create space for real connection. Take a moment to reflect. What emotional role do you take on most often? Are you the one who always says yes even when you're exhausted? The one who avoids conflict at all costs? The one who needs to be in control? These patterns are not your identity, they're responses. And you can rewrite them. Emotional freedom starts when you understand your patterns without judging them. Every emotion you feel has a reason. Every reaction has a root. Instead of pushing them away, sit with them. Listen. Ask, "What do you want me to know?" This practice can bring profound clarity and peace. It's also important to talk about how your patterns influence your partner. If you constantly expect rejection, you might pull away before they even get the chance to support you. If you expect disappointment, you might miss moments of love. When you see your pattern, you stop making assumptions and start building understanding. Awareness doesn't mean perfection. You'll still have strong emotions. You'll still react sometimes, but you'll begin to notice faster. You'll take responsibility for your part, and that changes everything. Relationships thrive not on perfection, but on willingness to grow. Start observing yourself gently. When you feel triggered, pause and breathe. Ask, what emotion is this? What old story does this remind me of? The answers may not come right away, and that's okay. What matters is the curiosity. That's where healing begins. Also, notice how your partner's patterns interact with yours. Maybe when you withdraw, they chase, or when they get quiet, you get louder. These are emotional dances that repeat unless someone chooses to step differently. Be that someone. Change your step. Invite a new rhythm. Your emotions are not problems to be solved. They are guides. They show you what matters, what hurts, and what needs healing. When you welcome them with compassion, you become emotionally wiser, and your relationship becomes safer and deeper. Imagine what could happen if you both recognize these patterns. If, instead of blaming each other, you said, "I think this is that old feeling again," or "I don't want to repeat what hurt us before." These conversations don't come naturally, but they are powerful, and they bring you closer, not further apart. Even daily emotions like stress or fatigue can shape your reactions. When you understand that you're not just angry, you're overwhelmed, you can take better care of yourself and communicate more clearly. You stop reacting from pain and start responding with presence. You might be wondering, will these emotional patterns ever go away completely? Maybe not. But they will lose power over you. As you see them more clearly, they become signals, not traps, and you begin to live more freely, more fully, more lovingly. And as you keep noticing these emotions and patterns with tenderness and courage, something deeper starts to rise. A quiet awareness of how love is not something you find or chase, but something you build every day, through the way you feel, see, and respond. The truth that connects everything. When you begin to see your relationship through the lens of emotional honesty, symbolic presence, and everyday awareness, you unlock a deeper kind of love, one built not on perfection, but on understanding. Every step you take toward connection starts within you. Let your truth be heard, your presence be felt, and your love be lived in the small, quiet moments. If you made it to the end of this video, write in the comments, "Real love starts when I listen within." Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our future content. Your presence here matters.